Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Sip and Chat. This evening, I have the pleasure of having a really good friend of mine, Miss Jearlean Taylor, here with us. Author, model, extraordinaire to the stars, darling, is here with us tonight. Welcome, Miss Jearlean. Welcome to the Sip and Chat.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure. Thank you so much for inviting me. I appreciate it.
Of course. So, for those that don't know, Jearlean and I used to work together, and I remember when she was talking about writing her book, and I was like, writing a book. So, I was dreaming about owning a bookstore.
Yep.
She was dreaming about and writing her book. And I said, the minute I get my bookstore, I'm going to call you. She was like, I'm here, whatever you need. In between time, my daughter was taking her mentorship through her modeling program.
Yep.
And we have kept in touch all this time. Now, fast forward, here we are, 2021. Her book is amazing. I now have my bookstore. So, of course, I had to call her and say, look, what are you doing on this day? Can you join us for the Sip and Chat? And she's like, I'll check my calendar. 30 seconds later, I'm there. I was like,
yes.
The best turnaround ever.
Yes, it was a quick turnaround.
It was a quick turnaround. I'm like, didn't even have a chance to go into like another browser because she responded so quickly. But that's what I love when you have really good friendships, even if you don't see each other face to face every day. When you say, look, something that can benefit you, can benefit me, can benefit us, and we are there for each other. I love that about us. Tell us, what have you been up to since the last time I've seen you?
Oh my gosh, so a whole lot. So, with me, I mean, I wear many hats, definitely wear many hats. So one is I am, of course, a published author. I'm also a fashion model, a mentor, entrepreneur. I have my own business now since the last time we probably, spoke to each other. So entrepreneur, I have my own online ostomy store, and, I'll explain that in a little bit. And of course, listen, still modeling, my passion. Haven't lost that. Still doing that.
Love it.
I haven't been doing too much of, modeling with my, mentorship with the modeling just because of COVID. So I've been doing a lot of things virtually. Speaking, a lot virtually. So
gotcha.
It's different now, but do what we got to do with the times. So yeah.
I will say COVID has definitely helped people tap into their creative side that they wouldn't have ordinarily done before. So it's really good to see people start branching out. I do love that about us.
And that's how my online store happened. During COVID, we're sitting home. And at the time, when it was real high, we were just home. We couldn't really go out to the market back home, maybe working back home. And so it was during COVID, God placed some things in my heart to start. And so, like you said, COVID, yes, but that gave us a chance, like you say, to tap into other things. And so, you just got to find a positive out of the situation. And, that's what I did.
Absolutely. So we are going to jump into Miss Taylor's bio. We have Jearlean Taylor was diagnosed with a rare form of cancer at the tender age of 3. There were many difficulties and adversities that followed. However, her faith in God, support from family and friends allowed her to carry on her life as a strong survivor. Through her journey, she discovered who she could be in spite of her medical circumstances. She is blessed to have her desires, passions, and dreams come true. She is one of the top fashion models in the DMV, published author, model coach, and entrepreneur and ostomy advocate. As seen on the Today Show, Fox News, Inside Edition, CBS News, ABC News, the Baltimore Sun, the Afro-American newspaper, and more. She believes we are not our circumstances. It is obstacles that make us strong in finding who we are from the inside out. I do not look like what I've been through. I'm not supposed to. All things are possible. Yes, darling.
Yes,
I love it. Yes. Yes. I love it. So I know you briefly talked about you have so many hats. I don't even know where to start. Okay, so let's first start with what brought you here, your book. So you have your book, Pretty Girl Blues. Tell us a little bit about your book.
So, Pretty Girl Blues started with this. And it's a journal. And so just kind of briefly with my medical background, at the age of 3 years old, I was diagnosed with a rare form of cancer. I was in the backyard playing with my brothers and sisters, and my sister noticed that there was blood in my clothes. And it wasn't just like a scrape of the knee type of, oh, let's put a Band-Aid over it. And so immediately she rushed me in a house. My parents rushed me to the hospital. It was days of testings, x-rays, MRI, you name it. I probably had every test done, and only to discover I had developed a rare form of cancer. And because of where the tumors were in my body, I had to be forced to have what they have ostomy surgery. And ostomy surgery is a medical opening in your body for the discharge of your waste. And so I have to what they call ostomy bags. And so which the waste can empty out to, So since the age of 3, very, very blessed. The year after my surgeries, chemo, radiation, the cancer never came back. And so last year I celebrated 53 years as a cancer survivor. Well, 50 years as a cancer survivor,
So time out. So she said 53. If anybody is paying attention, she just drops how old she is. I'm not even going to say it. If you guys were paying attention, you heard it and did the math yourself. That's all I'm saying.
Yes.
All I'm saying. She don't look like what she just said. She don't look like it. I'm going to just say. That melanin is fabulous, though. Yes.
So, just, growing up, of course, being a survivor, but also growing up, dealing with, having ostomy bags. And, so that was, I was 3. So just imagine growing up, a child, preteen, teenage years, even going to adulthood, because you have to learn how to change your bags. You got to know how to when to change your bags. And I'm always transparent. So these are my ostomy bags, and they're on each side of my stomach. Again, that's where the waste empty out to. So just about growing up like that, and really I had no choice. This is the way that it had to be. So just growing up with that, dealing with, you growing up, your body changing. You're still dealing with, having these bags, how it affected my life, whether with relationship, whether with friends, whether work, home, wherever, just kind of dealing with that, dealing with low self-esteem, not loving myself. I just thought most of my life, like I was saying, Manina, like, why me? Why cancer? Why ostomy bags? Just kind of like, woe is me, because at the time, you're young like that. You just don't know how to deal with it. You don't know how to cope. Your parents are there. They're going to, care for you. They're going to be there for you. But when you're growing up, listen, they gotta let go. I had to start school. I got teased in school, and kids going to be kids. They don't understand. They don't even know what an ostomy bag is, and so just going through that like period of my life, just kind of really wondering like, what is my life going to be like? Will I have a future? Can I dream? Will I be able to do this? Will I be able to do that? And I had got to one point in my life where I was like, I need an outlet, I had, given my life to Christ. I am a Christian, but at the same time, like I had to deal with stuff internally. I had to like really deal with that internally. Again, the outside of the bag, you got it all together, but inside, like you hurt, you wondering, like,
Right.
what is my life gonna be like? And like I said, I had a mentor in my life, and she mentored, the young girls at church, and
Mm-hmm.
just kind of teaching us, the ways of life and things like that. And she taught us about journal writing. And so what I did, Manina, was I took that journal and I wrote everything I ever felt. Like, why did
Mm.
I have cancer? Why did I have to have asthma? Like, I was really, like, I got to the point where I was like writing and crying, like writing and
Mm.
crying. And what happened was, it turned out to be so therapeutic for me. It was like it was healing. That was, my healing. And so that was one way, I was like getting stuff off my chest. And this journal, and I have many journals, right? But that journal actually turned into my book, Pretty Girl Blues. And
Mm.
I was like, God, what do you want me to do with that journal? Like, what is it that you want me to do? And at the time, Anita, like, I was like still insecure about myself. So I was like, God was like, write a book. I'm like, I don't even want to tell nobody. You know what I mean?
Mm.
I don't want to share my inner thoughts. I don't even want to share. At the time when I was younger, like a teenager, like, I didn't tell anybody. Only my
Right.
close friends, my family knew. But that was something that it was my secret. I didn't want to
Mm.
tell anybody. Like, I was ashamed. Because
Mm.
I wasn't understanding, like, again, like, why did this have to happen to me? Why, and
Mm.
it's a lot dealing with, when you're having ostomy bag. And people's like, a lot of people don't even know, like, what is an ostomy, and I have to educate people now, but I also tell
Mm.
people, like, 1.7 million people in this world gets ostomy surgery for whatever medical reasons, right?
Mm-hmm.
So mine was cancer. So just educated people now. But back then, like, I didn't know. You know what I mean? I knew
Mm.
that I had to change my bags when I needed to change them. But like, I say now that the doctors, I don't think they prepared me mentally or emotionally, for this change in my life. Again,
Mm.
my parents were there, of course, but like for me to get prepared mentally, like, this is my new normal. Like, this is
Mm.
this is how it's gonna be, you
Right.
know. And so I decided to like write the book and just like let people know, like you said in the bio, like we're not defined by our circumstances, and a lot of times we think certain things is our fault, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And but really, I'm glad that God took what I thought was a burden and turned it into my blessing, right? But guess what? It took that journey. It took that journey for me to actually get to that point where I kind of changed the way I was thinking. My perspective changed about it. And I think also it's my Christian walk and my faith in God that, of course, changed the way I was thinking, and just kind of growing, in the Word, just kind of teaching me. Listen, you're not your circumstances. You're going to have a good future. You're going to be able to do what you want. You're going to be able to be who you want. I'm right there with you. I never leave you or forsake you. And so I had to like really kind of look, get it. You got to get it. But, it's a process. Anything we go through, it's a process. It's a journey.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we don't want to be on that journey, but it's your journey. It's nobody else's. It's your journey. Right. So yeah, I'm glad. I'm glad, of course, that I wrote the book.
Right. And
And
you've been a lot of places with your book. We follow each other on social media,
yes,
outside of that. So, I've seen you from when you launched. So
yes.
tell us a little bit about where you have taken your book.
So now my book is very prevalent in the ostomy community. I'm very,
Mhm.
very I don't want to say famous in the ostomy, but a lot of people know me in the ostomy community, right? And so, of
Right.
course, it started there with the
Mm-hmm.
ostomy community. But, Menina, once I started, let's say, coming out, sharing my story, not being afraid, so it opened so many doors. And I
Mm.
kind of got to the point where I kind of used my social media as well. to get my book out, but also to like share a little bit more of my story. And so I just started kind of reaching out to people. I was reaching out to networks,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of times they found me too. Because I really started getting really transparent with my story. I started doing photo shoots showing my bags. And so people were like, okay, we want to know who this model is.
Mm-hmm.
She has 2 ostomy bags. She's been modeling for quite some time, and so, it kind of sparked that interest. So like you said, some of the play, I've the last one I did was the Today Show.
Mm-hmm.
Been on
I
Good
remember that. I saw
Yeah.
that. So proud. Yes, I
Yeah,
love
thank
it.
you.
Love
So,
it.
I did something with Robin Roberts from Good Morning America and in People
Mm-hmm.
magazine. I've done like probably all of my local news stations
Mm-hmm.
here. What else? And I've traveled abroad. I've traveled different places, just sharing my story, sharing my testimony. And the one thing I was a little bit surprised, like many places that I was going to speak were like in front of doctors, nurses, board members of hospitals,
Wow.
because of course, you have patients that, get ostomy surgery. They needed
Mm-hmm.
someone to kind of give
Give
them
them that story.
give the story so they can help these new patients,
Mm.
and so I've gone to quite a few hospitals,
Mm-hmm.
share my story. Of course, it's been published in so many, many magazines, but my the one magazine where it was, I mean, I've been in many magazines, but to be in Essence magazine,
Oh.
yeah, and Prince was on the cover of this, right?
Yes.
So this was in 2014, and I had wrote to Essence, right? I had wrote to them, told them a little bit of my story. Didn't hear back for a little while. And then
Mm-hmm.
months later, they contacted me because they was doing a special on cancer survivors. It was like, can we
Mm.
use your story? And I was like you, I got back to you right away. I got back to them right away. Absolutely, yes.
Yes, you can.
Yes, you can. And so I've been published in many, many magazines, over 25. I've been on several covers. Just I think in last year in October, I was on a cover.
I remember that one. Yes. Hair to die for.
Yeah, Full Bloom magazine. And so when you just kind of like know that there's a purpose, for your story, it has many purposes. Many I didn't really think,
Right.
but God already knew. And so the many open doors that it has afforded me, like I just kind of count my blessings. I thank God, for opening these doors and just giving me a story that I can share to make a difference,
Right.
And so that's kind of like my thing. I'm different. I think everybody, of course, is different to make a difference. I remember you when we was working and you talked about, your bookstore, and how it's coming to pass now, but sometimes we just got to go through some things, some ups and downs, some disappointments. But when we stay stay focused and stay on that path, it will come to pass. So I look at it like, look at Manina. Because these are the things we talked about when we were working together, and for it to come to pass and for it to, just like do what it's doing now. So even though doing this COVID, how God is still opening doors for both of us.
Absolutely,
So,
absolutely.
yeah, I'm just ecstatic of what's to come, and yeah.
So tell us a little bit about your modeling journey, because I know people who are listening is like, there's no way she is modeling with 2 ostomy bags. And I know some people are probably like, let me Google ostomy bags real quick. I know it's okay. You can do that. But yes, she has been, I want to say many times, has been on New York's Fashion Week and has modeled for several houses with ostomy bags.
Yes. And so it was kind of like typical. I really was in a mall and a modeling scout came up to me. They talk to you. But this particular modeling scout, I was familiar with the modeling company. I think everybody in Baltimore should be familiar with Travis Winky Modeling Company, right? And so he was
definitely modeled under his hybrid company when I was a kid.
Yes, right.
Definitely did.
And so, he was inviting me. They were having an open house just to come and listen, But I was like, wait a minute. I never grew up wanting to be a model. That wasn't, my thing. And so, what I decided to do was to go and listen, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just to kind of like, okay, Jeremy, step out the box a little bit. You still
Mm-hmm.
kind of like in your box. Just go and listen. So I went to listen, went to the open house, listened to what they were saying. But I gotta be honest, I was listening, but in my mind, Manina, I was thinking modeling an ostomy bag. Like
Mm.
how am I gonna make the two work? How am I gonna do that? And so what I did was I signed up for modeling classes. I went there every Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Travis taught us everything about the modeling industry, everything. And so what happened was it actually turned into a passion.
Mm.
I was progressing in class. It turned into like a passion, but underneath, I think, well, I ain't gonna say I think God was trying to show me, like, just because you have ostomy bags doesn't mean like you can't follow your dreams or follow your
Mm.
passions. And so it turned into a passion. And guess what? I didn't tell Travis in the beginning. I didn't tell him in
Mm.
the beginning about, my ostomy bags and things like that. I didn't, because during that time, I didn't want that to be the focus. You know,
Understood.
I didn't want my ostomy bags to keep being the focus of everything that I did, because
Mm.
I say now, like, my ostomy, they did help save my life. But at that point, Manina, I was like, wait a minute, these ostomy bags can't dictate my life. Like, it can't like tell me what I can and can't do. And so when I started modeling and it started becoming a passion, I was like, oh my gosh, I can do this. But then it came to a point, if you're progressing, then it was like, okay, the director want to start putting you in some fashion shows, fashion events, fashion showcases. But then guess what? I'm thinking, okay, now you're doing good in class. You can't like stay in class. You got to start getting out there doing fashion shows. And so I think it was at that point that I did explain to him, and something he said to me that I will never forget. He said, Jearlean, your talent speaks for itself. We'll do what we have to do, as far as your ostomy bags are concerned. And this is something that I speak openly about. So I'm like, okay, you got to wear certain clothes. You just new in the modeling industry, the modeling world, and you're gonna tell a designer, hey, listen, I can't wear that. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not, you don't do that in a modeling world. But I was like, okay, what can I do? And so I just kind of start finding some little tricks and little things, like, to kind of keep my ostomy bags in place. Like, I wear high waist undergarments, and so it gives me that firm fit, keeps my ostomy bags in place. Now, there's certain things that I have to do. If I have a photo shoot or I have a runway show, you got to make sure I have to make sure I'm not eating the wrong things, make sure my bags are empty as they should be. So it's just certain things, of course, that I learned along the way that kind of would help me during my modeling journey. And so I guess you can say it kind of, I got into modeling kind of by walking in the mall, I guess, but again, I think like God was trying to show me. He was just trying to show me you are more than your bags. You are definitely more, and so it has catapult, it has really
Mm-hmm.
blown up, which it kind of led me to having my own modeling company.
Mm-hmm.
And so just because I stopped being afraid, I was like,
Mm.
I'm going to open this door for you. Some doors, yeah, were closed, but some doors I can reopen. Here's the key. Open it up. Go in. I got you.
I
you
love
know.
it. I love it. Your story is so inspiring. I know for myself, I had my daughter in some of your mentoring programs, and it was just so comforting for the kids in that age bracket
Yeah.
to kind of hear and see someone that looks like them
Yes.
and that's not afraid to tell their story and
Mm-hmm.
say it's okay to be different, but
Yes.
that's not all that you are, that you are.
Absolutely.
And it was that sense of oh, someone finally gets it. It was so amazing to see in some of your classes.
Yeah, and I think because I had been in the industry for so long, right? And you see a lot. You really, really do. That's just the business. You know what I mean? I love it. It's very rewarding. It can take you places, but at the same time, it can be like, limited. It can be like, okay, you're not this height, you're not this size, you don't act this way, you don't act, you know what I mean? And so with me coming, like I was like, listen, all are welcome. I don't care what's going on with you, like all are welcome, because I gotta remember, like, I was in a place, like that. I was scared, I was afraid, people teased me. So that kind of I had low self-esteem. I didn't love myself. And so I believe modeling, honestly, it did help my self-esteem. And so I figured, let me, as a way that I can give back, I can teach you how to model all day long. And y'all know Manina can model too.
But it's been a minute since I've had to do that.
But it was a way that I could give back in that way. I could teach you how to model, I could teach you how to strut a runway, I could teach you all those things, but I needed to teach you, like, you are worth it. No matter whatever you're going through, mentally, physically, whatever it may be, like, you're worth it. I needed them to let them know, like, to love yourself. Every day, Manina, I wake up and I see ostomy bags on my body. Every day I wake up, right? I have to change my bags throughout the day. But guess what? I love myself. I love who God created me to be, right? Yeah. And so just embracing your flaws, your scars, just embrace that, So yeah. I'm just glad I can just kind of, share my story to give people that to feel good about themselves, to empower them. I had somebody empower me, like my parents when I was younger. People was like, well, how did you get through it being young? My parents, because they kept instilling in me, like, you're beautiful, you can make it, you're gonna be all right, you can do what you want, so now it's like, me, I'm giving back in this way.
I love it. I'll be so glad when COVID is over, because I know your babies are missing you in person. I know there are. So we had before we started, we had Michaela come down and she said hi, and she was like, "Oh my God!"
And I follow her, like, on social media. I like her pictures. But when Michaela came, she was a little shy. Then I see her pictures, and I'm like, oh, okay.
We grew up a little bit.
Yeah, she grew up a little bit,
So funny story. So we had Michaela multiple times, have taken different courses with Jearlean for her modeling mentoring program. And one of them was they had to do their first ever photo shoot. So got Michaela all ready, hair done, cute outfit, and Jearlean and I both are a product of America's Next Top Model. So all I can remember is hearing Tyra Banks say, when you come to an audition or you come to a photo shoot, white top and some jeans, and that's it. And that's all I kept playing in my head. So I was like, okay, Michaela, you can take this. You can take your leather jacket and some glasses. That is it. Those are your props. That is it. Playing this in my mind. So, of course, we get there. And she was like, yes, thank you. Somebody got the memo. Even though there really was no memo, but I knew what she meant. And Michaela at first was like, I don't know what to do. She was so shy and timid. Yes. She took her over to the side, had their own little personal conversation. And then Michaela said, I think I want to use a chair. And we were like, use a chair. So we were like, go for it. See what happens. Michaela went from, I don't know what to do, and then commanded a chair in a photo shoot. And we were both looking like, okay. keep going because we don't know if we're gonna lose it. So just keep going.
Right.
And she killed it.
Yeah.
But it went from so super shy
Yeah.
to just a private, maybe 30-second, 1-minute conversation. And that light switch kicked on.
Yes.
Everybody, I tell that story to say everybody needs that one person that gets them.
Yeah.
Family, a friend, a mentor, anybody that can tell them it is okay to be shy. It's okay to be scared, but don't let it take over what it is you're trying to do.
Yes.
And I have always respected you for that. As a mom first, you know, it's like she took my baby, molded her, and then as just a friend and a coworker, you know me, I put people in boxes. Boxes need not come together. I keep them separate. But that was just like, oh my gosh, this is so wonderful.
Yeah.
And you know, we've watched you just grow. Oh my gosh, I remember when you were on Dr. Oz and it was what guess your age. I was like, they ain't gonna get this at all. I said, I feel sorry for them, but I was like, one of Baltimore's own is out here living it. And
you know, I just believe, and you know, always people say this quote, can anything come good out of Baltimore, right? Because of course, you know, they often see us in a negative connotation, but there's a lot. Listen, there's a lot of great things, great people in Baltimore. Listen, there's a lot going on in other cities too, you know.
Absolutely.
You know, and you know, like I see, like yourself, you know, just bringing on Black authors, and you know, like I seen you, like you were in the mall. I said, well, Manina then moved to the mall. She got a kiosk. You know what I'm saying? And I think we need to just kind of start recognizing that.
Absolutely.
You know? And yeah, we just got to, you know, start uplifting. You know, there's a lot. Again, there's a lot of great people. You know, and I'm so proud. Listen, I'm proud. I'm from Baltimore. I'm from Southwest Baltimore. You know, I'm proud of where I come from, because it's from where I come from. Like that helped my story. You know, but every time I go to my mom's house, you know what I do? I look in her backyard, because that's where it kind of like it started. You know, it started. That's where it started. So when I look there, but I reflect. I look back. I look at that yard. You know, the summertime we were there having a little small cookout, and just when you like, I was just in the yard, Manina, just like wondering, like, wow. You reflect and you see how far you have come since that 3-year-old child. But look at me now, you know, and I don't glorify myself. Like, God gets all the glory, you know. I thank him for just like, again, open these doors, these opportunities. And, you know, there's more ahead for you, for me, you know, other people in Baltimore.
Absolutely. You know? Absolutely. So, I just wish, I know you and I have had this conversation through social media, just wishing that as much negative that is placed in the news, in our local news about Baltimore, they post more of the positives. It's so many. I know I've guests I've had on the show, the Nicole Mosby Taylor, we had Kia Crowder, we had Terry Butler, just the amazing organizations that they are running on their own.
Yes.
And you know, the recognition that those ladies need, you know, yourself, myself starting a bookstore, and there are quite a few other Black-owned bookstores in Baltimore. I didn't know that until I started this journey of wanting to be a bookstore owner. And it wasn't until I got into it. And I was like, wait, it's like three or four. And I'm like, wait, where have they been?
Right.
And of course, everyone knows everyone's place. That's a staple of Baltimore. Everyone knows that. But there were other ones outside of that. And you didn't know. And then it wasn't until I started getting in more book groups and author groups, and I started going to vending shows with other authors. And it was like, it's another bookstore. But who would know? I tell people as often as you post fight videos, as often as you post memes. Anyone that you know that has a small business, if you see them share a small business, it takes 5 seconds to share that. And you don't, sometimes support doesn't always come with you purchasing something. Sometimes it could just be that share, that tag. You never know on the other end who is looking for something.
So
and just getting to that mindset of sharing. Hopefully everyone that's watching will follow Jearlean on social media. If you're friends of Jearlean and you've never heard of Legacy BookBar, now is a good time to follow and like us on all social media platforms, because this is how we turn that negatives into positives, is platforms like this. I've decided first, when I first started doing the podcast, I was just doing it with legacy authors. But then it's like, okay, once I'm done with them, then what? It's a whole world of authors out there. You need to open it up to them. And I say, well, clearly you know a few that's in your own social circle. So let's start with them. And then we'll do an all call, and that's what I've been doing, is just all calling. Hey, if you have a story, email us. We're here. Let's hear your story. It doesn't. Now, of course, we would, if you want to be a part of Legacy BookBar, the doors are always open for anybody. But let's just get the story out. Let's just start having some positive lighting out there instead of all of the nonsense. Because I mean, yes, I will share it, I'll look at it, but then it's like, what else is there? It's more to us than that. And that's what I've actually been, of course, it's Black History, almost the end of February now, so everyone has been, Black History Month. My daughter had to write an essay, and I said, one of the key takeaways I want you to take from this essay is Black history is more than February. Black history is 365. Our history did not start with slavery. It interrupted our history, but it did not start with that. And learn more about what's around you, what came before you, what's going on now, and the potential for the future. You have to learn this information. And this is why we have platforms like this, because who's going to be next to tell Jearlean's story? Who's going to be the next to carry the torch for Legacy BookBar? Will it be my kids? Will it be my grandkids? Who's going to carry that? But nobody will know our story if we're not getting out there, if people aren't listening, if they're not tuning in, if they're not sharing, if they're not going to your website to purchase your book. There's a story that needs to be told.
And I think, we use, these social medias for so much, for so much. And,
Absolutely.
like you say, let's use it for something, of course, productive. Let's use it because somebody needs to know about Legacy BookBar. You know what I mean? Like you say, it's that sharing. And, I have plenty of people, of course, they'll share my story. They'll share my post. And like you say, it only takes a second, just hitting that button. And like I said, I educate people about, what is an ostomy, exactly what is an ostomy bag. You know what I mean? Like you say, it's that education that people need to know. If they never heard about ostomy tonight, they're like, I have no idea what it is. Nobody logged on to Legacy BookBar. They were like, okay, where did this come from? You know what I mean? So, I believe in, listen, I say, we don't have to put nobody lights out in order for ours to shine.
Not at all.
Not at all.
Not at all.
We all can share, and like you said, listen, everybody has a story to tell. Maybe not everybody wrote a book, but everybody does have a book in them.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And you never know. And I always say, you just never know when you share your story, how it's going to touch someone. And listen, maybe the person that's listening to my story now, maybe listen, they don't have an ostomy bag, but maybe they've gone through cancer.
Absolutely.
Maybe they've gone through depression. maybe they've gone through not loving themselves, you know. So it's like I've
Mhm.
been there, got the t-shirt, the web, still struggling with some things, you know, but if I can share my story of hope and inspiration and empowerment, you know,
Mhm.
then I'm like, thank you God for giving me this story. You
Yes,
know.
so we have some great comments. We have resident legacy mom, my mom, Miss Karen. She's here. She said, "While you've been around, when you were talking about, I think that's when I was reading your bio and it's saying all the programs you have been on.
Mm-hmm.
She did that quick math and figured out how old you were, so she put that in the comments." And then we have one of our legacy authors, Indy Jones, that said, "Amazing story of physical and emotional health and perseverance." We also have "Your story is interesting." Legacy also posted, "Love yourself." That is our key takeaway from tomorrow's today's broadcast. And then I have, "Hey, I know Jearlean. Does she have a new book or is this her original?" This is her original story,
Yep.
but it's new to other people who have no idea who she was after today. So for them, today is a new book for them. And hopefully they'll be going to Amazon or direct to her website. She can post that in the chats at the end of the broadcast. And you can go and purchase her book through either her website or through Amazon.
Yes.
So back to your book. What's the one great takeaway you have from writing your story?
You know, I kind of said it in the beginning, writing my story. It really, really was healing. You
Mm.
know, it was definitely healing for me. Just to kind of like, it was like a release.
Mm.
Like I was getting everything out that I ever felt, but I didn't express it, not even to my parents or my siblings. So I was able to, you know, put it in this book. You know how sometimes, you know, like, oh, I got so much on my mind, you know. So I just kind of started writing. And so this book it was healing. But another thing about this book is because I never like we back in the day, parents always say, okay, children, stay in your place, right? And so a lot of things like my parents didn't share with my siblings. Of course, they knew I had cancer, but I never knew how they felt. I never knew how they actually felt about me being sick. And so I did a whole chapter where I interviewed my brothers and sisters. And so, because I wanted to know how they felt, like, you know, again, this was healing for me. I got a lot of things off their chest, but they were able to express some things. I was a little bit surprised about it, but maybe I couldn't handle it back then. And so it came out in this book, and I'm so glad that it did, because guess what? Maybe they needed to get some things off their chest. You know what I mean? Again, we didn't,
Absolutely.
you know, we were just siblings. We was playing in the house outside, so we never really kind of talked about it. And so I'm
Mm.
kind of glad that I did interview them, and maybe it was healing for them too, in a different way. You know, so I would say, you know, writing this book, it was definitely healing for me. It was very,
Mm.
very therapeutic, very, very therapeutic. It really, really was.
What would you tell the next aspiring author that wants to write their own story?
Really, really simple. Just 2 words, right? 2 words. Do it, right? Because sometimes what happens is we'll come up with excuses of why we can't do it, and that will hold us back too. And guess what? I was in that place too, because I would write, then I would stop, then I would write, then I would stop. And you get to a point where it's like, okay, Jearlean, just do it. I know it sounds simple. It really, really is simple. 2 words, do it. But it's really kind of hard, especially when you're like you going through, you know, I was going through like surgery, another surgery, you know. And so I'm like,
Mm.
you want me to do this while I'm going through this? Yeah, because this is where it's going to come out more, you know. And so I would just say, you know, to other inspiring authors, like, everybody does have a book in them, right? Maybe it might not be like this, but it's in you. You know, if you just want to start off, you know, with your journal, write it in there, keep it there and look back in about, what you wrote, And so I would just say, do it. Throw away the excuses and just do it.
So hopefully everyone is taking notice. For any of our aspiring authors that have listened tonight and to our previous broadcast, is the going theme of all of our authors that will tell the next one. Just do it. Write your story and just do it. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's just your story. And you can worry about perfecting it later. But once you get it out, so many authors have said that it is so therapeutic for them to just get the story, get it off their chest, and that weighted blanket that comes off of them once their story is written. I absolutely love it. So we have gotten a lot done tonight. We've talked about a lot. I could talk to you for hours and hours. You just have such an amazing story. For those, please, for the audience that are listening and watching, please make sure that you follow Jearlean on social media. She is on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and she has her own website. So please make sure. And what is that website so we can put that in the chat?
It's www.jearleantaylor.com. So it's JearLean Taylor TAYLOR. So it's my name, JearleanTaylor.com. And on the website you can find everything. You can get the book. You can find out. You can read my bio, and I have some clips on there from the different talk shows that I was on. My company is on there. Jan Company is on there. My online store is on it. So everything is on the website.
Yeah, so we
the website.
Awesome. So I put the website in the comment section. So whoever comes and watches this in the future will be able to see this. So it is the year, it's 2021 now. You have so much to, I'm gonna mute you for 2 seconds. So we had 2021. You have accomplished so much. You have more to accomplish in the years to come. You can look back at your life, look at your nieces, your nephews, look at all the runways you have walked across. Maybe another book might come out of you, who knows? But you have definitely lived a life of dreams. You will sit back and you look at your life, and then you can ask yourself, Jearlean, what did I want my legacy to be? Answer that question for me.
I want my legacy to be being a difference maker. And that could be like on so many levels. Again, I want people to know, like, I'm different to make a difference. Like, I am a difference maker. She was a difference maker. She made a difference in so many different areas.
Oh, wait, I think we're losing you a little bit. It is.
Can you hear me now? Okay, yeah. So just, want my life, people to see, like, Jearlean, she was a difference maker, and making a difference in other people's lives, but guess what? By sharing her story. Again, we all have a story to tell, and someone out there needs to hear it.
I love it. I love it. Thank you. Thank you so much for being a part of tonight's episode. I have a few announcements to make, so just hang out with me. Don't go anywhere. Oh, tonight was amazing. We had model author extraordinaire, Ms. Jearlean Taylor, here with us for another episode of the Sip and Chat. So for those that are just watching the Sip and Chat for the first time, I want to say welcome and thank you for staying with us tonight. My name is Menina, and I am the owner of Legacy BookBar. Now, you're probably wondering, what's Legacy BookBar? Legacy BookBar is an online bookstore that caters to Black self-published authors. Not necessarily, not exclusive, but we definitely cater to them because we know there is a need for them to have their stories out, and it shouldn't matter if they are traditionally published or not. Their books have just as much right to be on a bookshelf in a major bookstore. This is why we're here today. So we have so much to share with you. For those that know me or don't, this has been a huge passion of mine to own a bookstore. I have been wanting to own one since I was 15. And a few years ago, I decided, you know what? We are going to figure out how to make the dream happen. Earlier tonight, Jearlean asked me, so, how are you? And I said, I can actually say living the dream and actually mean it. And this is it. Talking to different authors, hearing their stories, hearing their whys, and each story is different, but then each story is the same. They have a story to tell. Their story is amazing. It is brilliant. Some are heart-wrenching, but at the end of the day, they still had the courage and the bravery to write their story. And this is the reason why we have Legacy BookBar. Tell your story and get your story on a shelf. And then high five, 2 Black girls from Baltimore, South Baltimore, Northeast Baltimore, living the dream of all dreams here. So if you wanted to say, well, what good can come out of Baltimore? You have 2 copies, 2 ladies right here that can tell and show you there are some amazing things that can come out of Baltimore. I say that to say, well, what's Legacy BookBar up to now? What possibly can they do? They're always somewhere. Well, of course I am. Because guess what? Tomorrow, I'm going to be back at the mall, back at my kiosk, in front of White Barn, in front of Bath & Body Works, selling my books. So if you've never supported or you've missed an opportunity, guess what? I'm going to be there this Saturday, the next 2 Saturdays. I'm going to skip a Saturday and then go back again. So you have multiple opportunities between now and the end of March to come out and come support Legacy BookBar. If you can't, it is okay. As you've noticed, our website is scrolling across the bottom of the feed. So if you like urban fiction, if you like horror, if you like romance, if you like erotica, you like young adults, you have a daughter, nephew, niece, cousin, and you want to make sure that they stay interested in reading and in positive imagery, then you can definitely go to our website. And because you watched the broadcast tonight, you can get 10% off when you use the shop code POP-UP. So I say that to say, hopefully I'll see you tomorrow at the pop-up. Hopefully for those that are coming, everyone will get this beauty of a book, A Twisted Love, which is our March virtual book of the month. Everyone that knows with our virtual book of the month clubs, we actually have the authors on the call. So you're going to read the book, you're going to write your questions down, and you are going to ask the author all of your burning questions, the how, the why, the what, the oh my gosh. You'll be able to ask the author all of these questions and have some fun with some other readers and enjoy our Saturday. Of course, I have to show you some of our new arrivals, and of course, our new arrivals will be at our pop-up tomorrow at White Marsh Mall in front of White Barn, so don't get lost. Buy yourself some candles, come across, and you can buy your book, because who would love to have a new book, cozy up on the couch with your nice cozy blanket and then your new candle you got from White Barn? You can make it happen. I just set the scene for you. Because, of course, you're going to want to get this lovely new book, The Last Letter by A.A. Lewis. If you've noticed, she is in our bookstore already. This is her 4th book in our store. She has an amazing 3-book series, the 716 series, Urban Fiction. So you can get books 1, 2, and 3, or you can get her newest book, The Last Letter. We have ventured into the world of journaling, which is very important. Miss Jearlean Taylor was talking about it today. Better Than Ever is a lovely 30-day devotional journal that you can get, written by Larissa and Sherry Smalls. These lovely ladies are the newest additions to Legacy BookBar, and April 16th, they will be on the Sip and Chat. So you're going to want to make sure that you stay tuned and you stay with us every Friday night at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. You know, we go live on Facebook and YouTube now. So there's more opportunities to see all of these amazing authors. And one of our latest books for kids, Amazing Africa A to Z. This author, Dr. Artika Tyner and Monica Habia, they decided to help kids learn the alphabets by using the different countries in Africa and then giving some history on that particular country. So this is in stock. Better Than Ever 30-Day Devotional is in stock. A Last Letter is in stock. A Twisted Love is in stock. So many book titles to choose from in all genres. So there is no excuse to say, I don't know what to read. We have a plenty for you to choose from. So make sure you go to the website, www.legacybookbar.com. Use those shop codes pop up to get 10% off a purchase of your choosing. Also, hey, come out, support, wear your mask, have your hand sanitizer, and come out tomorrow and see me in front of White Barn at the Legacy Book Bar pop-up. You guys were amazing this evening. Thank you so much. I will see you back here next Friday for another episode of the Sip and Chat. Jearlean, thank you so much for joining us this evening. Everyone have a good night. I will see all of you back here next Friday for another episode of the Sip and Chat.